And good morning at 7:04 on this Wednesday, March 27th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome here on a Wednesday morning. Going to be a wonderful Wednesday in the Cedar City. The sun is going to be shining shortly, and it's a nice spring day. We are happy to be on the air for Cedarstone Bank of Lebanon, Mount Juliet, and Donaldson. And Bob McDonald is with us this morning on the phone. Bob, President and CEO. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
We're glad to have you with us, and it's a sad occasion. We talked about your father, Willie, last week, and you're going to be here and do a little bit for us today.
Yeah, I'm going to be with you just a few minutes this morning, then I'll need to jump off a little early, so thank you for letting me do that. Today is Willie's service that we'll be conducting down in his church at Donaldson Presbyterian Church, where he's been a member for over 50 years. And so we've got a very joyful, uplifting service planned. And Coleman, today is also his birthday, so he would have been 92 today. And so we've got a lot to be thankful for. We look forward to celebrating his life with his friends and his family and his customers. And I'll tell you, the last week, I've heard from just so many people who had a relationship with Willie, and I've heard from his former colleagues, people who were bankers who he mentored over his 70-year career, and I've enjoyed hearing those stories, and I look forward to sharing some of those today. But he sure thought a lot of you, Coleman. He enjoyed being on your show when he was there, So I appreciate your many kindnesses to him over the years.
Well, it's been a pleasure to know him and even some of the Willieisms that Melinda shared with us last week. He was just a banking legend, Bob. I think that's the way to kind of sum it up, a banking legend.
Well, he was, and that's those are big words to use, but I do think it's appropriate to say that about Willie. Because he did a lot of things for a lot of years that made life better here in Middle Tennessee, and so I'm very proud of him. And it's a small world. Willie and Susie's dad, Richard Hunt, they were friends from way back doing business together, and of course Bill Berry and Joyce. Willie and them also go back a very long way, so I've enjoyed over the years Susie and I sharing stories about our parents, and so it's a small world. Thank goodness it's a small world, because we get to have all these fun relationships that we get to continue to celebrate.
Right. Well,
but with that, I'm going to end it with that. I've got a busy day as we prepare to celebrate Willie's life, and I appreciate you letting me dial in, and appreciate you again your kindnesses to Willie over the many years, Coleman. We'll talk more about Willie later.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being with us today. We appreciate it, Bob.
Thank you, Coleman.
All right.
Here.
Bob McDonald, and he again is President CEO, Cedarstone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, Simple Banking, Simply Better. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guest. Ray Render is here this morning. Ray, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
And we could just say a word or two about Bob here.
Man, great.
Bob sounds the same whether he calls in or is sitting here in studio.
Bob is such a great gentleman. Cedarstone Bank, they do so much for the community. So I got to meet Mr. Willie one time at a Donaldson Hermitage Chamber event. As you know, in redistricting, we've picked up that area. So did get to meet him. A great man. I know the lady that introduced me to him, she goes, well, this is the unofficial mayor of Donaldson. That's how she introduced him to me. So a great gentleman. So Bob, he is, I know he's loved and will be. And so we thank you so much for just coming on and saying a little bit about him. And thanks for everything that Cedarstone Bank does.
And one other thing people might not realize, he came from a family of 11 children, if you read the obit.
Wow.
And back when times were really hard, and everybody didn't become a successful banker.
Right. Pulled himself up by his bootstraps.
Pretty much. So,
yes.
Well, anyway, we want to talk about you this morning. You are my guest, not Congressman Rose.
It seems odd, but I know you were desperate. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, there's this entity in Mount Juliet known as the Mount Juliet West Wilson Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
And they have some awards that they present each year, and they have a Wilsonian of the Year each year, and that happened to be you this year that received that award.
Once again, I don't know how that happened. Mark Hinesley must have had a brief lapse of memory or something there to allow that to take place.
Well, I'm going to disagree, and I don't know how much the people in our listening audience know about you. They know some about you if they listen because you're here. Every time Congressman Rose is going to be on the radio with me, whether he is even going to be live in studio or calling in from Cookeville or calling in from Washington, D.C., you are always here just in case something goes wrong, just to make sure we don't have to come up empty-handed. You're here to fill in.
Well, somebody's got to bring you donuts, Coleman, so that's my job.
Well, I just want to express this morning to our audience, and those that don't already know, what a really nice guy you are, and you have been very impressive to me in that regard. You're just a step ahead of most everybody else.
Well, I think I've got a $20 bill here for you, Coleman. Let me see.
But I take it that when you were when the award was presented, the Wilsonian of the Year, that you did not know this in advance.
I did not. One of my good friends, Rick Brown, he's county commissioner, he knew about it. He was there. I said, well, it's odd for Rick to be. But anyway, they kept it a secret. So Tracy, Julie, Mark, whoever kept it, they all managed to keep it a secret, except they did tell Rick just to make sure I was going to be there that night. And I always try to go to that event. So I was. But
well, I'd like to, because I know you a little bit now and all of this, but I don't know a lot about your background.
Right.
I'd like to find out a little bit about your life this morning while you're here.
Well, that may be boring, but born and raised over in the Madison area, down Neely's Bend. That's in the northern part of Davidson County, not too far from the Rivergate Mall area. So growing up, went to Madison High School. The building is there. It's now a middle school. It's not a high school any longer.
Oh, really? The Madison Rams?
Madison Rams,
yeah.
Yes, we were. So graduated in 85. The last class was in 86. So if you remember, like DuPont, Goodlettsville, Madison, some of those schools, 86 was their last year, and then they all went to either Hunters Lane or McGavick. So, from there, went on to Tennessee Tech in Cookeville. That's where I met John. I was an industrial engineering major. John was an ag major. Lo and behold, of all places we met was in student government. We probably would have not have crossed paths necessarily other than we met there. So that's how we knew. We overlapped 3 years at Tennessee Tech and just stayed in touch through the years. So,
now, which one of you is older?
He's a couple of years older, about a year and a half older. So that's right. He's a lot smarter too. So,
but 3 years ahead of you in school.
He is. Yes,
1 year.
So he took he actually graduated high school in '83. He went to Japan for a year and spent some time abroad before he started at Tennessee Tech. So kudos to him for getting some international experience at a young age. So he actually waited a year, then started at Tech in '84, and I started in '85. Mm-hmm. So actually 2 years age different, but 1 year in college graduation different. So degree in industrial engineering. Actually came back right here to Lebanon, worked at Toshiba. If you remember Toshiba Consumer Electronic Products, made television sets, VCRs, other things. So I was there for about 7.5 years. Great company.
Well, did you know Jim Wyatt?
Yes, I did.
Lion Jim, the late Lion Jim Wyatt.
Super guy.
Knew him through the Lions Club, but he was Toshiba to me, sort of.
Yes, great gentleman, and I would say back in the heyday, maybe 1,000 people, probably one of the largest, if not the largest employer, outside the school system. In Wilson County at the time. Yeah. So a lot of people have Toshiba roots, and hello to any Toshiba friends out there I haven't seen in a while, but I hated to see it go. I mean, like so many things, over time it went offshore. But before that, I had moved on to Bridgestone Firestone, their Western Hemisphere corporate offices, Nashville direction. So went there, did a little engineering work, then wound up in sales marketing, and the rest of my 23 years there was sales and marketing. So I was at Bridgestone until I went to work for John in 19. So things were changing at Bridgestone. Great company, but just time for do something a little different.
Got to go to a break in a minute here.
Sure.
But how did this come about with John? You're
right.
You're totally changing. You had to think a little bit about that.
Well, and I was more worried about it's a 2-year. You got a job for 2 years, and really you work at the leisure of the members. So if John decides tomorrow he doesn't like me, I guess we can part ways. I hope that doesn't happen. But once again, he had won the primary. We felt kind of confident that he was going to win the general election, and he said, "Hey, I need somebody to cover the western part of the district." He knew I was from this area and lived in this area. So we talked and were able to get close enough on the salary that it made sense to do that. So and I've enjoyed. It's not about the money. I've just enjoyed every minute of it. So
okay, with that we'll go to a break. Ray Render is with us. We've got a lot more to talk about. So keep it right here, Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, get a battery installed on most vehicles. $149.95. Bates Ford, 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's pretty crowded now as we check it out live. Over here on 40 West, coming through Hermitage, Donaldson, coming past the airport. You got all that heavy traffic in from Wilson County up through the Hendersonville area. That traffic's also running a little bit slow at times on Vietnam Vets westbound, approaching Conference Drive 65, starting to block down just a bit down through Millersville. Through that section of Sumner County, it's still heavy. 24 West up through the Antioch area coming in from Murfreesboro. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Middle Tennessee. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Are you facing a challenging time that you need help navigating? Well, look no further than your local law firm of Kane and Crowell. At the offices of Kane and Crowell, we understand the complexities that come with family law matters. Whether you're going through a divorce, working through child custody or support matters, or needing a will or trust drafted to protect your family assets for future generations. Kane and Crowell, 615-784-4800. Your local leaders in family law matters.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us here on a Wednesday morning. Ray Render is with us. What is your official title with Coleman Road?
It's way too many words. The Deputy District Director. Rebecca Foster over in Cookville, she is the District Director, so I'm the Deputy District Director.
So I guess you work closely with her.
We work very closely. Yes, she lives in Cumberland County, Crossville, and her husband, Alan Foster, is actually the county mayor of Cumberland County. But she comes down to Cookville every day, and she covers, I'll say, kind of the eastern part of the district. Then we have another lady named Lou Nave. She lives down in Cannon County, Woodbury. She kind of covers some of the central part, and then I cover the far western part.
Well, there was the redistricting that took place, which changed things up a little bit.
Right.
And some of the district that had been Congressman Rose went to
Congressman Ogles, yes, sir.
Right, and what was that like? It was a little adjustment, to say the least.
Well, it is, and so actually Van Hillary, our chief of staff, and I were just kind of chuckling over that. I live about 4,000 feet from the 6th district line, so anyway, I'm actually in Congressman Ogles district where my house is, so I live in the 5th. I continue to work for John in the 6th. Once again, you work at the leisure of the member, but that was different. We picked up about a third of Davidson County. So once again, I was born and raised in Madison, went to church in Old Hickory, so that was some of the area we picked up. I was familiar with the area. Mentioned Donaldson, Hermitage earlier, great folks there. But still, it was a change. We lost about 75% of the population of Wilson County. Mm-hmm. If you look on a map, it may only look like about half the geography, but, we lost, sadly, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Gladeville. We kept Watertown. So Mayor Jennings, good morning. We kept Watertown, and that's the municipality that's still in the district. John did want to keep the fairgrounds, so we have right out here on Sparta Pike. We would have this side of Sparta Pike, and we don't have the other side. So it's kind of that's the dividing line running down through most of the county. It once again, as you get down there toward Watertown, it takes a little turn, and we pick up some more of the county. But have all of Sumner. Obviously, I live in Wilson, so I try to help out here, along with Lou Nave. She helps out here as well. And then I help out with the third of Davidson County.
What do you spend most of you spend more time going to meetings, I got an idea, than as much as anything else, but probably on the phone a lot. What's a day like?
Phone some, and please let me give a shout out to Kim Mash. She is our caseworker up in Gallatin. She lives in Gallatin. Phenomenal lady, huge heart. She will help anybody with anything. So I would like to say that too. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, we help everybody. If you live in the 6th District and you have an issue or something going on that you need help with the federal government, we're going to help you the best we can. So I want to throw that out there. It's funny, some people will call and, well, I guess because I'm a Democrat, you're not going to help me. Yeah. Or they'll call all the way down to Cohen's office in Memphis because he's a Democrat. No, we help everybody. So let me get that out there that we help everybody. A day in the life, like today, I'm here on your show. Thank you for having me. After this, I'm heading to Donaldson. They have a small monthly economic development meeting. So I'm going to run down to that. That'll last an hour and a half. Then I'm back here. Mayor Hutto's doing the state of the county today, the chamber event. So I'll come back for that here. And then I'm going to go to the office this afternoon. Then tonight, I think I'm in Trousdale County for an event after hours. So it's a lot of moving around. But
well, now I take it from what you're saying, you are pretty much the eyes and ears of Congressman Rose in your area here.
Well, we say we like to listen to the voice of the constituent. I mean, he's in D.C. a lot, Van's in D.C. a lot, so they can't be just out in the district as much as they would certainly like to be. So,
now,
yes.
Speaking of Van Hillard, he was introduced, I believe, at the roast last night.
Yes. And I know him and Sam go way back. So, for those of y'all that are listening, we had the Kiwanis roast last night. I know John Bryant and Paul Stum and some of those guys got to pick on Sam Hatcher last night, so that was fun. And Coleman and I saw each other there. Great event. Van did get to go, so good to have him down this way and visiting Wilson County.
Well, I guess being the eyes and ears, so to speak, you have your ear to the ground as far as what's happening politically, the political winds, if you will.
Some of that, and really just what's on the minds of the constituents, whether maybe it's political, not political, but just, hey, this is going on. We've got maybe whatever is in the news and whatever people are talking about. Or, even last night I was sitting with John Pope, and he had a banking question. So it's just, as we see, John sits on the Financial Services Committee, sits on Ag Committee, so obviously we get a lot of questions along those lines. And him and I were chatting over an issue last night. So it's just, and then I would say, hey, John, where in this particular thing, it was a trigger bill for some issue, and I go, okay, I need to follow up with that with Van and John and, see what's going on with that. So it's a lot of just sitting down at a table with the random folks and listening to what's going on and what are their concerns.
Yeah. John Pope John to some of
us. So Tracy's my boss. So I tell everybody, if you keep Tracy Pope and Susan Shaw happy in this county, along with Melanie Mentor and Mark Hinesley, those are the 4 people that I try to keep happy. So then Wilson County runs smooth. So
we have we've seen some dissent, and especially in our state legislature. And I wonder how much that's going to play over into the congressional district and the races to come. Are you follow what I'm saying here?
Yeah, it's and I really looking at the tea leaves on the U.S. House side. I think at the end of the day, the state of Tennessee will send back 8 Republicans and 1 Democrat, being Cohen and Memphis. So that's just my prediction for how the U.S. House is going to turn out. And then probably in the Senate race, Marsha Blackburn's probably going to win that hands down. I know the lady from Knoxville that's running against her is a Democrat. If she really thought she was going to have a chance at winning that race, why does she feel like she needs to run for her state House seat again? So that right there tells you that she doesn't expect to win, or she wouldn't be running for her existing seat. But anyway, that's just my guess on that as to how that's going to shake out. Everybody says what's going to happen in it's going to be Trump versus Biden. They both have enough delegates in their own party to get the nomination. How that's going to turn out, it's anybody's game. It's very close in the polling. So, but I want to encourage everybody to go vote. That's what Miss Tammy would tell me here at the Election Commission to go vote. I looked at the percentage of the last vote cycle, and when it's 18, 19, 20%, you've got a fifth of the population that's making the decisions for everybody. So if you don't go vote, my dad said, hey, if you don't go vote, you just take it as it comes because you weren't a part of the process. So I want to go vote for somebody. Register to vote. See Miss Tammy. She'll get you signed up over at the Election Commission and go vote.
All right. I want to get back to your family a little bit. Your wife. Tell us about her. Where'd y'all meet?
Oh, met at Tech, 1985. So many years ago. She's an accountant for Deloitte. And then we were talking about our kids earlier. So my son, Grant, and his wife, Emily, Emily Smith is from here, married now, Surrender. Grant went to UTC, University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, as well as Emily. They actually met before that. But anyway, got married last year. They're moving into a townhome here soon, and they are expecting in September. So we have a busy year with Grant and Emily. Grant works for Wilson Bank and Trust right here in town. Emily works for, I believe it's Joy Bridge. They work with autistic children over in the Mount Juliet area. So that's them. My daughter Erica, she is still at UTC down in Chattanooga. She is engaged to Carson Harris. He is from the Hendersonville area. His father's actually the pastor of Hendersonville Church of the Nazarene. But anyway, they met at school and have been dating and are now engaged. So that wedding is in January of 25. So between now and then, we have got a lot of stuff going on. So
2 children.
2 children, yes, boy and a girl, yes.
Yeah.
Grant is 23 and Erica's 21. I think I've got that right.
And going to be a grandfather.
I'm going to be a grandfather, yes. It appears that way. So I'm 56, so I say, I'm too young to be a grandfather. But anyway, looking forward to that in late September.
Well, your job does depend on how the elections go, of course.
True. Yes.
And it also depends on decisions even that Congressman Rose makes.
Right.
But I don't think he has any plans of getting out of politics.
Well, not that I know of. He is running again this time, and it seems like in the U.S. House, and probably Clark and Susan would say in the State House, those are elections every 2 years. Mm-hmm. So it seems like you're almost campaigning and running all the time. But John is on the ballot this time, and would certainly appreciate your vote for John Rose for Congress.
I want to ask another thing here, because there's all kinds of issues that you deal with, but as far as I just wonder how many people you get complaining about our porous border between the U.S. and Mexico. Do you hear that every day?
We hear that frequently. Yes, we do. And once again, Kim Mash, she fields most of the phone calls. If I'm there, I'll help her with the phone calls, but she fields most of the phone calls, good, bad, or otherwise. So we do hear a lot that bubbles to the surface. We're hearing a lot about, Israel, Hamas. We're hearing a lot about that. So as you can imagine, anything that hits the news, and it really is, sometime Kim and I look at each other and we go, okay, did Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, they must have just had a special on something, because the phones will just start ringing, and it's all about the exact same subject. So sure as the world, something has been on television that's triggered a lot of phone calls. We chuckle about that, but that will... A certain television program will trigger the phone calls. But really what we do is help constituent. I say we. Kim does 99.9% of that. It could be Social Security, could be veterans issues, could be IRS, tax advocate services, could be immigration, naturalization, really anything that touches the federal government. If people need help with that, we try to help them with that. Here recently, FEMA with some of the tornadoes that came through, helping with that.
Well, another thing that we are facing right now is whether the government's going to shut down. I think they've partially alleviated that, but there's still a section of...
Well, so over the weekend, Biden did sign off on that. There were kind of 2 tranches that were coming down through the appropriations bill. So now the government is funded through September the 30th, all facets of it.
Oh, okay.
So that took place...
I stand corrected
took place over the weekend. So it was some late night hours, I think, in the Senate, and then Biden did sign it over the weekend. So federal government's funded through September the 30th. But, right now it's time to start working on the appropriations bills for next year. So the next fiscal year starts October 1. So, there's not a lot of time. It may seem like a lot of time, but we've got to get on that for next year.
Do you have many people complaining or concerned about how much in debt we are? Maybe $34 trillion. I think that's the last figure I saw.
There is an app for that, and I do have that on my phone. It is a little over $34 trillion, and John talks about that a lot when you hear him speak. So, I hope people are in tune with that. I know maybe it seems like it's out of sight, out of mind, or it's monopoly money or whatever, but it's real. That debt is real, and there's going to come a day when our kids and grandkids and great-grandkids are going to have to deal with that. So I don't think we can continue to sustain, and you'll hear John say that we just can't sustain the spending that we're doing. I heard John when he was speaking the other day, every 100 days we're going another $1 trillion in debt, and that's just not sustainable.
That is scary.
Yes.
Yes.
Someone's going to pay the bill.
Well, what's a good positive note we can end on? I guess congratulations again on being the 2024 Wilsonian of the Year.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And once again, we want to help everybody we can. We love Wilson County. It's one. There's no dividing wall at Highway 109. Let's throw that out the window. We're all one people. So as someone said last night at the event, it's gatherings like that brings us all together. So get out, participate in your community. If it's Kiwanis, if it's Lions, if it's Rotary, if it's your church, so I'm a Rotarian. Our motto is service above self. Get out and find a way to serve your fellow man.
That's a great way to end things this morning. Ray, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you, and I hope that we have displayed this morning what a really good guy you are.
Well, I don't know about that.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
That is part one of Coleman and Company. We've got more, and we hope you'll keep it right here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota. Write it off the lot. Write it off your taxes. Visit Absolute Kubota. Take advantage of the Section 179 tax deduction when you buy new Kubota construction equipment, tractors, RTVs, hay tools, or turf products. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's pretty crowded now as we check it out live. We'll be here on 40 West coming through Hermitage, Donaldson, coming past the airport. You got all that heavy traffic in from Wilson County up through the Hendersonville area. That traffic's also running a little bit slow at times on Vietnam Vents westbound approaching Conference Drive 65, starting to bog down just a bit down through Millersville. Through that section of Sumner County, it's still heavy 24 West up through the Antioch area coming in from Murfreesboro. A 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Middle Tennessee. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Simple banking, simply better. Since 2004, that's been our motto at Cedarstone Bank. I'm Bob McDonald. We know that financial decisions can sometimes be complicated, but that doesn't mean solutions have to be. Whether you're buying a new home, renovating your existing home, or buying a car, or maybe you're a business that needs to purchase equipment or the building you operate from, we have all the technology that will allow you to do your banking online or on the telephone, or you can come in one of our beautiful branches and see our great people. With locations in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, and Nashville, Cedarstone Bank. Simple banking, simply better.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Elevate your possibilities with the wide selection of equipment from Harris Trading Company in Lebanon. Harris Trading offers sales and rentals on a large variety of construction and agricultural equipment. Golf carts, dump trailers, livestock trailers, skid steer attachments, utility trailers, and much more. See us for all of your rental and sales needs. Family owned and operated, conveniently located just south of the Watertown exit on I-40. Find Harris Trading online at harristradingcompany.com.
Mostly sunny skies through the day today, warming up to a high of about 62. Overnight, partly cloudy, low back down to 36. Flip those numbers around, sunny and 63 for Thursday. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's Look at Your Forecast. I'm Stormy Clausen.
We continue. Welcome to part two of Coleman and Company. Here on a Wednesday, we've got a wonderful Wednesday going for us. A little bit on the cooler side out there this morning, but sun shining, a nice day. And now it's time for us to talk about Kane and Crowell PLLC. This law firm is located at 133 South College Street here in Lebanon. It's the gray Victorian house built back in the 1800s. Lindsay Johnson is with us this morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good morning. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm great. You are right, though. It's a little
I
cold.
am doing well, and we've got to tell everybody that you and another attorney with Kane and Crowell have been made partners.
Yes,
now,
sir.
Tell us about that. That's
Yes,
a
sir.
promotion. That's it's got to be exciting for
It
you.
is. Kayla Costley and I, we have the honor of becoming partners at Kane and Crowell. A little bit more responsibility, a little bit more, I guess, stress, you could say. But yes, we're very excited about this.
Well, how did this come about? I mean, did you have a lot to do with it other than doing a good job previously?
Well, I like to think I did a good job, and I like to think, I know Kayla Costley earned it. I like to think I earned it too. It's been discussions that have been made for quite some time now. Kayla's been at the firm since before she became an attorney. I've been at the firm over 5 years now as an attorney. So I guess Amanda and Angel thought that now was the time. So they offered it to us, and we humbly accepted.
So how does that change things? What changes involved here?
So we will no longer be associates. We will be partners now. The name will still remain Cane and Crowell, but Kayla and I will have some ownership in the company. So,
okay. I was thinking that was we were headed in that direction, but
for now, no. Cane and Crowell is too good of a name, too well known of a name. So that's what it's going to be.
Right. Well, of course, we've talked many times about you mainly do family law and elder law. That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And we've talked to you a few times, but tell us again, what is your main responsibility? You do some of both?
I do the family law side, the divorce and custody. And a recent change for me, I went through some Rule 31 mediation training back in September, so I'm now a Rule 31 listed mediator. So I can mediate cases now for people.
So another step up.
I guess another thing to add to your business card, but another kind of changes up my day. Maybe not advocate for either side, but be a neutral third party that can help some people settle some cases.
I take it this has all been a pretty good experience for you. It must have been something that you aspired to do, to be an attorney, to move up. Is that right?
I've wanted to be an attorney for as long as I can remember. I'm thrilled now that I'll be able to say I'm not just an attorney, I'm a partner at my firm now, so that's huge. But yeah, I mean, I never really dreamed of being anything else. I know you don't think a little kid thinks I'm going to be an attorney, but since I was very little, I knew this was what I was going to do.
Really? Well, did other people think that of you maybe with your personality or your quirks?
Oh, well, it was my mom that, when I'd get in arguments with my brothers and sisters, or maybe even with her every now and then, would say you're going to be an attorney. But and then I joke with my dad now because, when I would tell him I'm going to be an attorney, oh, you don't want to be an attorney. But I do think my parents are proud of me now. I do think that I can help people.
You can hold your own in a court of law and
I like to think so.
Argue your point very, very
I like to think so. Yes.
Well, good.
Yes.
Good. So what's most of your time spent doing?
Well, most of my time right now is with cases that I am acting as an attorney. I'm trying to get more into the mediation side and settle some cases with people and not act as an attorney. I like to say when I've done mediations, I take my attorney hat off and I can put my mediator hat on, which is hard to do. You can't give legal advice when you're a mediator, but right now I would say that most of my time is either spent in meetings with clients or preparing for court, and then usually at least 2 days a week I'm in court.
Well, there are 6 attorneys, I believe: Angel Kane, Amanda Crowell, Mary Ellis Carfee, Kayla Costley, Bryson Eubanks, and you, Lindsay Johnson.
Yes, sir.
And then you've got a staff of great people there, and you're right across from where a lot of your court room scenes take place.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's very convenient where we are.
Anything else you want to tell? Well, yes, we always want to, and I'm about to forget to tell about your website, because your website is a very important part of the whole thing. www.cane-law.com. www.cane-law.com, and a phone number that's pretty easy to remember too. 615-784-4800.
Yes, sir. Yeah. It's an easy number.
Yeah. Well, we wish you well, and congratulations again on becoming a partner in Cane and Crowell.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate having you.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. That's Lindsay Johnson. That's it for Cane and Crowell PLLC, again located at 133 South College Street. It's the gray Victorian house built in the 1800s. Well, I've got 2 of my friends who are my guests this morning who are coming in and taking their place here around the table. Sue Vanetta, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
It is nice to have you with us today.
It is great to be here.
And you're here as a guest and not as an employee.
That's true.
You worked here for a little while.
I worked here almost 4 years. Yes, and I
loved it.
Was
it that long? Oh.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies. Former Sheriff Terry Ashe, former County Commissioner Terry Ashe, and whatever he did with the state, former Terry Ashe, good morning.
I'm formerly here.
We're glad to see you as well. How's it going?
Going good. On the way out here, I was thinking how many hundreds of trips I made out here to talk with you in the mornings over the last 40 years. So pretty interesting.
Last 30 years.
30, I'm way out here.
I've only been doing this for 30 years.
Only 30.
So let's see, I was sheriff 30 years. I thought you did every bit of that. Maybe somebody else was here. Clyde and different people were doing it.
Well, we didn't exactly have what we have here in Coleman and Company until 1993 when Susie resurrected WCOR and started WANT.
I've already been sheriff 10 years.
But you're here representing the Wilson Warriors,
Correct.
And we've got a lot to talk about this morning. Sue, how did you become a member of the Wilson Warriors?
Well, we created the Wilson Warriors when Terry Ash decided he was going to retire. And some of his friends got together, including me, and decided we needed to do something to recognize Terry and something that we could create kind of in honor of Terry. And we came up with the Ash Bash. Kind of like a roast, but we didn't roast him. We just had a big event and invited a lot of his friends to come out. And so that night, Bob Bird, who we've lost now, and I were standing there talking, and he said, we need to make this an annual event. Look at all the people that are here. From that, Wilson Warriors was created, and Terry is chair of that. Bobby Bird chaired it for a long time until we lost him, and now Terry chairs it. But it turned into a fundraiser to help veterans.
Right. And I guess you've kind of, if you weren't chairman or whatever, you've had a leading role in this, and a lot of ideas that you've had been implemented to make this a successful thing, Terry.
Well, it's been fun. And hard work, by the way, raising funds for veterans to honor them. We've doing the Field of Flags down at the park, and every year, then we put about 30,000 flags out in a period of 8 years on graves, but cemeteries got a hard time working with them about getting them up and when we put them out. And so we eased off that. And, of course, what we were founded on is the basic principles of what's at the museum today was to put the names on the walls for people who could not afford that $100. And so I think we've put somewhere around $30,000 worth of names on the wall up there. That's people who are deceased or were indigent or didn't have the funds to do that. So, and we laid quiet for about 5 or 6 years. But with having a golf tournament and being involved in a motorcycle ride and having the Christmas breakfast, it's kind of hard to be quiet anymore. So we've taken on a bigger role helping the Veterans Office with what we call No Vet Left Behind. So for some funds that they need from time to time. Veterans run out of gas here in Lebanon. They get broke down and need something to eat or maybe a place to stay overnight or something like that. So we created a fund to help subsidize that, along with what VFW and American Legion's doing.
Yeah. Well, you've got a special print here we're going to be talking about momentarily, but this is one of those things that it hasn't gone away. I mean, you've been able to sustain it, and that in itself is...
We're starting our 13th year.
Yeah. That's more than some organizations can say. You've evidently had the right people doing this and doing the right thing. But what I was going to ask, you were talking about $100 to get a name, the veteran's name put on there. Has inflation is that going to drive that up?
It really hadn't, and that's credit to the county and working with the vendors to do that. We've had a couple of 3 vendors just put the names on there. So if you go to the wall, sometimes you might see just a little difference in the font, maybe on a series. That's when we might have lost a vendor and had to bring in another one. It's quite a job to go up there, and you just can't go up there and put one name on. You got to get a list of names, make it worth their while to come up there and set their machinery up. And then, of course, it got so popular, and it still is, the Army wall, we had to put a new Army wall up because so many of us guys. And the mayors help coordinate this and everything. It's really, really well. It speaks well for our veterans and for their families who feel like they have a home now to come to. That's what started me on this mission back in 2011. I was tired of standing in the parking lot in the hot sun, it just didn't seem right. So the late Gary Keith and I and some others worked hard to get the funeral home removed. We owned the property. Mm-hmm. And I hate to see the funeral home go because we buried my grandparents and family members there, but when we started erecting this, the plaza, it was very obvious that we were hitting on something very important. And then the museum backed that up, and it's just state of the art. I mean, when people come up there to see this museum, they're just in awe. Other counties that come in, there's not a county in this state that's got anything like what we got right here.
Well, something certainly to be proud of, and then the veterans I think are very proud of this.
Absolutely. There are over 10,000 veterans receiving benefits alone in this county, which means there's 20,000 veterans here. There's another 10,000 aren't receiving anything. You got their families, their friends, and their relatives. It's quite an impact for our veterans.
Well, Sue, you can respond to this a little bit. Being at Chamber of Commerce is probably something that you were glad to point out, if nothing else, remind people of, support.
Oh, yes, Coleman. The Veterans Museum is so, like Terry said, so important to so many people. And I had someone just last night at the roast ask me how I got involved in this. And I said, I'm not a veteran, but my dad was. So, it's like Terry said, it's a way to honor them. And he and I both have been up there at the same time and seen people come in. We were there one day, and this gentleman came in with his son, about 10, 11 years old. And the little boy wanted to stay home from school that day and come and tour the museum. And just so happened he was touring, and Terry was there. So Terry got to tell him a lot about the museum, and it was the little boy's birthday.
Oh.
He left. We got him a hat and some T-shirt, and he was just so excited. So we want to get more school children to come through it. We want to get more adults to come through it and see what it's theirs. It belongs to the county.
Yeah. He was actually from Murfreesboro, and you think, well, he said, we just heard about it. Mm-hmm. And so we get a lot of people out of town that come, more so probably some of the people here, so people who are listening, man, we encourage you to go up there and look at this. It's as good as anything you'll see in Washington, D.C.
All right, well, we got something else good to talk about this morning, and now that we've talked about the Veterans Plaza and Museum a little bit and kind of got people built up a little bit about that, you've got something to announce here that we want to make people aware of, and we'll do that after we go to this break right here on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, get a battery installed in most vehicles. $149.95. Bates Ford, 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. We still see heavy traffic trying to get in right now from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, coming up through the Antioch area on 24 westbound. It is heavy now on 40 west over here at Central Pike, trying to get through Hermitage into Donaldson. All this traffic being pushed in right now from Wilson County. It still looks like it's limping along a bit from an earlier wreck just outside of Clarksville on 24 eastbound through that section of Montgomery County. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Middle Tennessee. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hey, this is Dr. Derek Gregory, and I'm proud to announce to you the opening of our brand new dental practice, Gregory Dental Group, at 1746 West Main Street, just across the road from Sports Village. Come experience modern dentistry at its best. We're always welcoming new patients, and I truly look forward to taking the best care of all your dental needs. Come by or call us today.
That's Gregory Dental Group, 615-444-0322, or online at MyLebanonTNDentist.com. Gregory Dental Group, compassion, knowledge, skill.
And we continue here on this wonderful Wednesday morning. With me, Souvenir Terry Ash, the Wilson, two members of the Wilson Warriors. Now, I don't know which one of you want to get us going here, but we've got a big announcement. We got something big for people to hear about this morning, and something that you may want to write a phone number down and be prepared to make a call here in a few minutes.
Drum roll for me.
Coleman, we are very, very excited, and I hope a lot of our listeners know the name Phil Ponder when I say it. Phil Ponder is a well-known artist. He has done a lot of prints, and when I say he's done a lot, he draws them, He designs them. He goes to the building that he's going to. He counts every brick, and it's just marvelous. So we are so excited to announce this morning that he has done a rendering of the the museum. I get
the museum in Plaza.
The museum in Plaza, Veterans Museum in Plaza. I get kind of chills when I look at this. It is absolutely breathtaking. He's included all the flags. He's included the eternal flame at Mount Interior's request, and he came out and took pictures twice. Terry and I met him there, and he took pictures, and then he came back and he did this drawing for us. There's only 50. They're numbered, and he has signed all of them.
There will never be only 50.
We have sold 20 already. Thank you, Terry. Yes, and there will only be 50. We did this deliberately just to have 50 of these, and Phil Ponder's a good friend of both of ours, and we're so proud to have this. I have a Phil Ponder wall in my house. I have probably 25 of his prints. I love his work, and I adore him.
I believe he made the one that's up the square facing east, that, and we have one of those at our house.
That the chamber office is in.
Right.
He surprised me and gave me that, and Bob McDonald kind of worked with him. So Bob, I think, has number 1, and I have number 2 of that print.
But this is going to be something people are going to treasure, collector's item, and only 50 of them.
Only 50.
Or was only
50. We talked about it early on. Of course, there's money invested in this, so we're not going to make money off of it. Really, when you get right down to it, we want to memorialize that while we had Phil Ponder in our life and in our world. Phil's 91 years old, and he gets around better than I do. So. And his mind is great, and he just came up, and he had a big time working on this project. But we only have about 20 of these. So what's important is we're running into people who have veterans who are interested in buying this for a Christmas present for someone, kind of that stocking moment. This one thing you're going to get you didn't think you was going to get kind of present. So if you've got a relative who's got a name on this wall right here, this might be that one thing that you're looking to get them something for Christmas. This could be it. But listen, guys who are listening, this is pretty. I wish you could see it on the radio.
Yeah, this is one time we'd like to be on television.
Yeah. But Coleman's going to give you a couple of phone numbers, and one of them is mine, and one of them is Sue's. And we're going to be like Prime and FedEx and wherever. If you buy a print, we'll bring it to you. Or you can meet us at the Veterans Office, either one, and we'll get it to you. But there's only about maybe just a little less than 20 of these left, and we just started with these the other day, and so they're out there. So it's going to be first come, first serve, and then they'll be gone.
All right. Now you haven't told how much it costs.
Oh, they're $100 a print, $100 a print, and that's pretty present with all his prints this size. This is a 14 by 21. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. If you're a veteran, you'd love to have it, or if you have a veteran in your family, in your life, in their memory, or a good presentation to them, this would be awesome.
Well, it is beautiful. Anything I've ever seen Phil Ponder do, he did a great job on it. And I did not realize this. Terry, you were telling me yesterday when I saw you that he actually went and counted those bricks.
He counts every brick.
So that it is an exact replica. And that's going beyond the call of duty.
Well, he counts every brick in his photograph. So he goes back and he does his geometry, and he gets his little thing out. And his daughter told me, he said, Daddy drives me crazy sometimes when he's doing that. But he actually, it's just as close as he knows how to get it to accuracy. And in doing that, he can shift some things around without losing the integrity of the site. He had to move the flame just a little bit to get it in the photograph and little things like that. But he got all the flags flying. He did a great job rendering of all the different military branches, and he just did a wonderful job. And he's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Honestly.
All right. Well, these are going for $100. And now, if your phone starts ringing here before 8 o'clock,
I'll answer it.
So
well, I don't know if I'll answer, but leave us a message. And,
Well, I'm going to give you a minute or two to get a pencil and paper so you can write. We'll give you Terry's number and we'll give you Sue's number.
now, there is a P.O. box,
All right.
but if you was to write it to the P.O. box, I'm afraid maybe the prints might get gone, but our P.O. box is P.O. Box 2131, Lebanon. It's Wilson Warriors mailing address. And
37088, I think
it is.
Yeah.
Dash 2131. Or you can, reach us through the Veterans Office. And so the Veterans Office is doing a great job, and so we just need to support them. We've got a golf tournament set up in June.
First Monday in June.
We've got a motorcycle ride in October, honoring Bernie Ash.
Mm-hmm.
And our golf tournament's going to be in honor of Bobby Bird. And at which time Jay White and A.G. Johnson are helping us with the golf tournament, and we got the different motorcycle groups helping us with the ride. Then we got our breakfast in December, and our flags in November.
So
we're very busy.
Or I should say among all of this, you hopefully get enough money to keep putting these veterans' names on the wall for those who can't afford it.
The mission is to put those names on the wall of those who can't afford it. And it's touching to see people who wanted their name on there. And then for years, we did it, and we didn't tell anybody who it was that did it. We just didn't tell them.
Yeah.
But then people started finding out, and they started contacting us. But we vet that. We have people like Carol Debon, who used to work for Bernie, who's now on our board, and we got and the VA and the Veterans Office. We vet them to see if they can afford it or not, and if it's close and they can't afford it, we'll pay half of it.
Well, you still have a touching story about how you started doing this.
Tell you that right quick?
Yeah, we've got time for that.
Well, I was in Bernie's office when we started the plaza, and a lady had come in, and I'm standing there talking to Bernie about how when the conversation was simply this: Bernie, we can't raise enough money to get this built like this. We got to take it to the county commission. Little did I know, 2 years later, myself and Sue and Jerry and others would be on the county commission, Kenny Rich, and that's how we got the first money to build the plaza. But a lady was sitting there, and she was filling out forms for her 3 sons, all military. One was already deceased. And when she got done, she said, "Now, how much is that going to be?" And so it'll be $300. And it was almost like sticker shock. And she said, "Well, I didn't know it'd be that much." And she gets her little purse out. You can just envision a little leather purse with a snap on top. She's an elderly lady. And she fishes around in there and gets her monies and her quarters and everything out there. I'm just sitting there going, And finally, the conversation was, "Well, why don't you just come back? We may be able to help you with that. Just don't pay for it today." And when she walked out of that room, I couldn't help myself. I just paid for it.
Yeah.
And but it got me to thinking. Then I talked to Sue and I talked to others. Bobby, there's going to be a ton of people who can't afford to put their name on there. A lot of them are going to be deceased, and they're not going to be here anymore. And they're already deceased. And so we spent, 7.5 months walking cemeteries this entire county and finding veterans' graves and trying to find relatives. And if not, we put their name on that wall.
Mm-hmm.
And so we missed thousands because every grave's not marked. So we kept that quiet. And when those first bunch of names went up there, and Bernie got kind of tickled. He said, "Well, everybody thinks I got all these names." Well, he was on our board, too. So he knew how we were doing it. And I'm glad we done it. I'm glad we kept it quiet. It wasn't anything anybody wanted any publicity out of. And I've got all the publicity in a lifetime a man needs. So
but
it's
you
good.
Did have to expand the Army part of
We'd
that.
expand the Army, and there was not a real strong willingness on the plaza. Even the county commission at the time, I think it was only 14 votes, wasn't it, that got it through. And then the museum had the same thing. We knew we wanted to do a museum, but we couldn't raise nickels and dimes for a $2 million museum. Had some great sponsors, by the way, that helped this, but
Okay, but we have this print that Phil Ponder has done. It's beautiful. It's available for $100 while they last, and they're already going fast. I'm going to give out these numbers now. If you want to write down Terry's number, this is your cell phone.
It's my cell number.
615-306-8136. 306-8136. And Sue's number is, if Terry is busy,
Let's try Sue first and see if I'm busy.
615-318-5526.
No, 218.
218?
218.
218-5526. 218-5526 for Sue. So you can call, and it'd be $100 for the print, and there were 50 of them. There may be 20 or 25 now, maybe. Yes.
Coleman, we just sold 2. MJ just brought me a note that we've sold 2. Judy and Medina Cox want 2, and I will deliver them when I leave here.
And my phone's ringing right now, and it's Wayne Oakley, so I figure he's buying a print, and he had a lot to do with that.
All right, 306-8136 for Terry, 218-5526 for Sue, and I'm guessing before the day's gone, you may not have any left.
Well, we were holding some for the county commission, but they're going too fast, and so I don't know. You can get a print later. We might do some, but they won't have Phil Ponder's signature on them. They won't be numbered, and that's important.
These 50 are unique.
They're unique.
All right. Well, thank you all for being with us. Our time is up, but we enjoyed your visit. Terry, Sue, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it for a Wednesday. Join us tomorrow for Coleman and Company. Till then, I wish you a wonderful day.